Welcome, everybody. It's time once again for another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. So grab your board, jump in the water, and catch a wave, the latest waves in how to build a pipeline with the folks at Heinz Marketing and our guest host today, Brian Hansford. Hey, Brian.
Hello there. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to whatever you're going to bring our way today here, whatever wave we're going to catch today here.
Right on. So I'm coming off the bench for Matt Heinz once again. So it's always a pleasure to do this. I've done this a few times for Matt now, and I think I have a really good show ahead for us. Got a really good guest, and we're going to talk about marketing performance management and how that is really important for modern marketers in driving revenue and why salespeople should actually care. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dave Rigotti, who is Vice President of Marketing from Bizible.
Hey, how's it going? This is Dave. So excited to be here, and thanks everyone for calling in.
Thanks, Dave. Hey, Dave, what part of the country are you in right now?
I'm in rainy Seattle. Looking forward to sunny Seattle, but calling in from Seattle today.
Right. I wasn't sure if you were actually traveling this week or not, so we're actually sharing some of the rain here. So thank you so much for joining me, and I want to get right into it. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing and what Bizible does.
Sure. So my name is Dave Rigotti, and I am the head of marketing at Bizible. I've been here for about 3.5 years now. Prior to that, I was part of a large company doing marketing. And what really drove me to Bizible and what we do from a product perspective is really connect your marketing activity to revenue. And I just saw this great opportunity and great need of doing so to support sales, support the organization. And so as a company, we help B2B organizations connect their marketing to revenue. And an awesome piece of that is I get to do marketing to marketers, which is super meta and super fun. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about marketing performance management and some of the values that you can get out of it.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. The gist of it is, marketing for years was all about activity, arts and crafts marketing, marketing communications, PR, branding, things like that. And there were always some functions that were around lead generation, but there was that what I call the line of demarcation between marketing and sales. There wasn't always a very clear definition or agreed upon definition on what leads were versus contacts or suspects. And once a marketing organization may have collected a contact name or gotten a response or had somebody actually come to a trade show booth, they'd throw that over the fence to sales and, wipe their hands of it. That's it. It's done. And then sales would hopefully run with that and drive a sale or drive some revenue. Very, very hard to measure the actual effectiveness and, just to show what sort of impact marketing has on the business. And I think that, the last several years with modern marketing, there has been this concept of marketing performance management, and it's been around for a while, but I think now we're hitting this critical mass where marketers are realizing that they need to show what they're doing to help drive the business, drive revenue, to fill the pipeline. And how can they do that with reliable, accurate information? I presented a couple weeks ago locally here in Seattle to an analytics group, and I found some data that CMO tenure, while it was on the rise for a while, it's starting to go back down again. And the number one reason for that is CMOs are not able to effectively show the impact that they are having on the business. And marketers are being held accountable for revenue, what the impact is to the business, but they need a method to do that. So let's talk about what marketing performance management is and, get into some of the nuts and the bolts, but also, Dave, over the course of the conversation, I want to get into why salespeople should care, why your CFO should care, why the CEO should care. So tell us from your point of view with the marketers you work with, how do you guys define marketing performance management?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there in talking about activities. Salespeople listening in will get this really, really well. At the end of the month, when you're writing commission checks for the sales team and success team, it's not about how many opportunities you got that month or how many emails did you send to try to close the deal. It's about the outcome. So it's no longer about activities; it's about outcomes. And really, every other part of an organization gets that and has made that shift. And we're just kind of now starting to see that shift in marketing from, hey, let's optimize for activities and moving that towards let's really understand the revenue outcome of our marketing and start to optimize for that. So when I think about marketing performance management, I think of it as being kind of three key areas. You're planning your marketing, you're executing your marketing, and you're measuring your marketing. So when you move those all to revenue, you start to really look forward and not backwards. When you're looking at activities and you're measuring activities, you're always looking back. And so when you can start to align that to revenue, you can start to do great things around planning for the future. As salespeople are always planning for the future. I mean, that's the sales role. Once the deal's closed, it's done. And so we're starting to see the shift in marketing, and I think a lot of it is drafting from sales success and what's been successful on that side for driving revenue and bringing that over to the marketing function.
The organizations that I have seen or worked with where this really takes off are marketing teams that actually have a revenue goal. They have a shared goal with sales, and that seems like a natural forcing function to bring sales and marketing together, to collaborate, but also to work from the same picture, the same data sets. So you're not just having an isolated marketing automation system that plugs into CRM with some pieces of data and then sales takes that. It seems like there's a forcing function that's natural when you have that revenue goal that brings sales and marketing together. Are you seeing that as well? Do you see that a result in terms of organizational performance and collaboration? Is that something you see with your customers from Bizible?
Yeah, exactly. I'll speak for me first and then more broadly. Certainly I measure our marketing to revenue, and so does our sales team. We have the same revenue goal that we're trying to hit every month, every quarter, and for the year. And so we build sales hiring plans against that. We build marketing plans against that, and we're kind of very aligned there. We even take it one step further and tie my compensation as the marketing leader to revenue as well. So at the end of the quarter, we're both, if business is great, we're all happy. If we're a little under, marketing's not at the bar celebrating that great webinar we did. We're right there with the sales team and in those trenches. And I think that's honestly the major benefit of aligning your marketing to revenue is aligning with the sales team. You start to go from this unhealthy relationship of marketing, you're not driving enough leads from me, and then the marketer's telling sales, well, you're just not doing a good enough job closing them, to this hey, how can we both come together and service the organization and have both not only our goals aligned but our compensation aligned? It's healthy for the company, it's healthy for culture, and honestly, you start to do much better work. You start to prioritize a lot of different things, and they're the right things to think about and the right things to prioritize for.
One of the things that I get excited about with that alignment and that shared responsibility or some shared goals around revenue, the focus for marketing isn't just on lead generation anymore. lead generation is incredibly important. You want to keep that machine flowing and generate quality leads and have good customer engagement. But when you have that good relationship and tight alignment, you're also able to identify where marketing and sales can work together deeper in the funnel. So it's not just after generating that lead, it's how can you support sales as they're actually prospecting, or getting deeper into the sales process and supporting them and aligning that process. So it gets into a concept that we call full funnel marketing. So it doesn't just stop at the very first stage of the funnel. It gets deeper into the funnel, and potentially what that does is that helps you with pipeline velocity. It helps with the quality of opportunities that you're getting, and also, our better conversion rates. And a lot of that, I feel, based on what we're seeing, is you can attribute that back to the data that you're getting from marketing performance management.
Yeah, I think that you've hit at a couple really key things there, Ryan. And I'll add on that by having that shared focus, it's also healthy for deal sizes. And because marketing is focused on revenue, the quality is much higher. I think that was going to your conversion rate comment. Not only are the quality of contacts that marketing is generating going to be higher, but so is the quality of opportunities, the quality of the deals. When we think about how does this help salespeople? Salespeople can take a higher opportunity load because you've removed the opportunities that were fake or at least weren't as high quality. They're generated from high quality marketing sources, and because marketing is supporting sales in doing activity after the opportunity has been created, as you said, they close faster, they close at higher rates, they are bigger deals. You can start to take higher loads,
right,
as a sales team that leads to more money. And those are right decisions organizations should be taking.
Well, listen, I'm here with Dave Rigotti, Vice President of Marketing from Bizible, and we are talking about marketing performance management and how marketing is wrapping their arms around and assimilating more into revenue responsibility. We have to take a break for a few seconds here, and then after the break, we're going to come back and continue the conversation.
ABM is everywhere, but seldom do you dive deep into the details of how a strategic ABM program works, can be launched, and scaled to impact your organization. Sign up now for the Modern Marketers Workshop, ABM, From Strategy to Action and Results, a fully online workshop, April 18th to the 20th, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Pacific each day. Visit www.heinzmarketing.com/workshops. That's HEINZ marketing.com and register today. Dive into the details of your ABM strategy.
We certainly encourage you to check that out, as we encourage you to listen to the second half of this interview with Brian and his guest.
Hello, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. Brian Hansford with Heinz Marketing, and Dave Rigotti, Vice President of Marketing from Bizible, a leader in providing marketing performance management and attribution solutions for marketers and sales organizations alike. So we're talking about marketing performance management, revenue generation, revenue accountability. Dave, from your perspective, what's a good place for marketers to start with an attribution and marketing performance management initiative?
Yeah, this is a question I get pretty often. It really comes back to goals. If you're just getting started thinking about how can marketing move to a marketing performance management mindset, the first place to start is just, what are your goals? What are you measuring marketing on? What are you compensating marketing on? And that's way easier said than done sometimes. I've chatted with some organizations where the marketing leader wants to move to revenue, but the CEO or whoever the marketing leader is reporting into is like, no, we need to generate leads just because that's what we've always been doing. The first thing is align your goals. the company's initiatives are. That's almost always revenue. If it can't be revenue, generating sales opportunities is still like much better than just generating leads and being this lead machine.
Right.
So move to that full funnel approach that you're talking about, and that'll just be a huge step. The next piece is you got to figure out where you're going to get this data. As you move deeper in marketing funnels, you have now more marketing interactions that you need to track, and they're oftentimes across multiple people at an organization. So figure out how do we collect that data, and that's of course going to be different for every organization. That might be in a kind of dedicated tool. It might be you might be able to get some of that out of marketing automation. So kind of audit that data, and then this last piece is make sure that you're going to use it, and that you're going to use it to its full potential in kind of informing the future. Looking backwards is great, but the purpose of looking backwards for anything is to change the future. So once you get that full funnel view, start to think about, what are we going to do differently to improve that, and not let's just pat ourselves on the back when things went well and forget about the things that didn't go well.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned the CEO perspective. Education and understanding is a big challenge that we run into with a lot of organizations we talk with. There's that perspective or that understanding that marketing is there to just generate leads, but marketing can do so much more. I mean, it can help fuel and really give horsepower to that revenue pipeline. So there's a lot of education both inside the marketing department and with other executives that seems to, I think there's a breakdown that when you come to a CEO or even a CFO and say, listen, marketing department wants to pursue this shared goal around revenue. We need to look at how we can do that and support that with data, and then the campaigns and programs that can support that, and where you can steer that and steer your budget spend and where to engage your customers. So that's the education piece, I think, is a challenge, not only with marketing people, but also non-marketing execs. And I think that can certainly be a challenge that we run into. So that's an interesting example that you come up with. And one of the things that I talk about sometimes is marketing generates leads, but very rarely, if ever, does an opportunity or sale come from a single lead source or a single campaign. All right, so a sale will come from very likely multiple touches, multiple campaigns over a period of time, and measuring the impact that each one of those touches has. It's very important. So it's not just about the lead source, somebody filled out a web form, but tracking the opportunities throughout the pipeline. How do you pursue that? I guess, how do you do that with Bizible, Dave? Or how do you see that that's helping marketing organizations fuel their funnel?
Yep, that's exactly the measurement shift. Once you've aligned on your goal, how do we measure all of these interactions that are happening? This is the concept of multi-touch attribution. So building that buyer's journey of all the interactions that are happening. And then once that deal closes, you say, well, how do I know, what's the value of all of those interactions? So, yeah, that's the concept of multi-touch attribution. Many solutions or many tools out there to help you measure attribution, like Bizible, have both kind of stock models to help you understand, more simply, what's the value of these interactions, or even now machine learning to help you figure out give me every single interaction that's happened and let me figure out the value. But they all come down to, for B2B companies, they come down to moving deals through the sales process. So the very first interaction, you generated awareness, generating that lead, generating those opportunities. So you can tie back, hey, this marketing activity drove this deal forward, which in marketing and in sales is like the most important thing other than revenue, is that at least the deal's moving forward and you're making progress on it. So understand your buyer's journey and tie your marketing to those stages.
One thing that I get excited about whenever I work with marketing performance management or attribution strategies is being able to actually dig into and identify the highest performing channels, as well as where content assets. I know one thing that we've discovered just this year, actually working with Bizible, is that we're able to identify content assets that are very high performing at various stages in the funnel. And that is very interesting because I know for years people have been talking about, content is king, all of those platitudes, but measuring the ROI of content has been elusive until now. I think marketing performance management is actually revealing where channels are performing very well or not, where you can steer resources in the future, and what content assets are actually performing well for the function that the objective they may have, such as, generating new leads or helping shorten sales cycles. I get really excited about that just because that's just more data that helps optimize how a marketing organization performs.
That's one of my favorite pieces, too. We're a 7-person marketing team, and we have 4 out of the 7 team members are dedicated to content. We've been able to build this healthy content engine because we focus content on not on like traffic or its rankings, but how much revenue it drives. And you're exactly right. There is a difference in content, just like there's a difference in channels. Social marketing is very top of the funnel. Paid search has a little bit more intent, so it's more middle. And then sales dinners and field marketing is very, very bottom of the funnel. You see that same thing across content as well, and aligning and thinking about all of your marketing, not just channels, but your messages as well, to that full funnel approach. It unlocks great opportunities for revenue growth and just being able to have the content team control their destiny and make decisions with data and not just, I want to write about this piece of content.
Yeah. Speaking of great content, folks that are dialed in or listening to this recording, we're going to be closing out the show here, but I would encourage you to actually go to the Bizible website to download the State of Pipeline Marketing Survey that Bizible conducted. And we actually worked with Bizible on this, but it has some very interesting data just to see how marketers are looking at measuring performance, their goals, where they're prioritizing efforts, and some of the challenges that they face. Very detailed report, lots of valuable information in there, so I would encourage you to take a look at that. Dave, I think we're getting ready to close out here in just a few seconds. Is there anything real briefly that you have coming up at Bizible that you can share with us before we wrap?
Sure. I'll say I'm excited about the future of marketing performance management. For the last 5 years, it's been about collecting data and understanding the past, and it's moving towards let's use that to understand and change the future. And Bizible is going to be moving into this space even more, so stay tuned for that. But I think some exciting things will be happening in this space over the next year or so. We're in this awesome transition period. I'm really excited to share more.
That's great, Dave. I really appreciate your time dialing in. Again, had Dave Rigotti, Vice President of Bizible from Seattle, talking through marketing performance management and helping marketers and sales organizations actually work more closely together in optimizing revenue performance. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Look forward to seeing more great things coming from Bizible in the future. And if any of you folks have any questions or feedback, please email me at Heinz Marketing, and that's Brian with an I, BRIAN, at HeinzMarketing.com. You can also check out previous recordings that we have on Sales Pipeline Radio. And I wish you all great selling and great revenue success.
Once again, you've been listening to Sales Pipeline Radio, brought to you by the folks at Heinz Marketing, the only show that takes a look at how to build and maintain and grow that sales pipeline.